Happy trails to you until we meet again.
Hi, welcome to the Wickenburg Roundup. We talked the other day about buying your first horse, and now I had some questions about what the different breeds and disciplines are, and maybe going into a little bit further into that. There's so many different things that we can have horses to be able to enjoy. Leisurely trail riding, competitively trail riding. There's horse showing in all different types of different shows. Reining, which is a growing sport, team sorting, cutting, roping, hunter jumper, dressage, so many things, endurance. I could go on and on and on, and this is without notes, but I'll just go into some of the basic breeds and kind of what their strengths are. And I'm going to start with one of the oldest breeds, if not the oldest. The Arabian horse, over the years, I believe, is one of the first horses, not the first horse. I believe it's a prehistoric horse that would be first. But these horses were bred for their beauty and their endurance. They'll go so much further than a heavy muscled quarter horse or a draft horse, which is basically built for pulling. And in war, they were war horses that they would actually fight on because they were so big. But Arabs do endurance riding. They are great trail horses. They have probably more personality than any horse out there. And then in the show ring, they're absolutely gorgeous. Probably one of the prettiest horses and one of the prettiest moving horses would be an Arabian horse. If you'd watched the movie Hidalgo, there was several Arabian horses in that, and that would be the type of race, maybe not near as intense as that, but that would be that was in that particular race. Let's talk about some of the gaited horses. There's Tennessee Walkers, there's Missouri Foxtrotters. There's quite a few different gaited horses. There's offshoots of the gaited horse, but they are known to be the smoothest horse, probably the fastest walking horse. They have a gait. They have several gaits actually, and it's very comfortable, very smooth. Again, they're good for trail riding. They're usually known to have great dispositions and being gentle, but then in the show ring, they're very versatile in some of the showing that they do in the judging against how the certain horses gait, and very interesting to watch. Let's talk a little bit about this. I'm going to talk about a draft horse, and there's draft horses and draft crosses. Draft crosses, a lot of people ride. Actually, in Wyoming, that's all we have is draft crosses, where you might have a draft father and a quarter horse mother or a draft cross mother. And these are bigger horses. The drafts would be like a Clydesdale, a Belgian, a Percheron. These are big, heavy boned horses. I was the photographer at a Belgian, it was just a horse pull, but every single one of them were the big Belgian horses. And I was so impressed with their minds and their strength and what they could do when they would pull these sleds. But they would go pull hard, and then when the driver would ask them to stop and quit pulling, they would. And they'd listen very intently to him, even after being so excited as they're pulling these heavy loads. But draft horses were used in war. Like I said earlier, they would joust on these horses. They're huge. But in Europe, where most of these breeds come from, they'd pull a wagon or they'd pull a team. It was a luxury to have a draft horse. The gypsies had the Gypsy Banner, which is a kind of a cross between a paint horse, which is not an American paint, but they're a lot of them were black and whites, and they weren't as desirable to others, but the gypsies used them, and they wouldn't get them taken from them. But if it was a pretty jet black horse, they'd probably get it confiscated or somebody would take it from him. I'm an American quarter horse person. That's the horses I've bought and sold for years and have rode all of my life. To me, they're the most versatile, but I think that's not the right statement because they're the most versatile for what I like to do. And the American quarter horse, and their name says it all, or starts it all, is the quarter mile in the racetrack. They're known to be the fastest horse for a short distance. The race horses aren't near as heavy boned and heavy muscled as some of the other horses, like some of the quarter horses, the people that go roping, even some of the trail horses. They're big, strong, heavy boned ranch horses that go out and work and rope cattle and doctor on cattle and go to roping competitions and rodeo. But they're trail riding. You can drive them. They're, for the most part, known to be a very gentle breed. And most people get along with that breed. And I know I have. And again, they'll do cutting. They'll do reining, working cow horse. They have where they show their athleticism. But pretty neat horses to own and have. But when you're looking for a horse or picking the type horse you want to figure out what exactly do you want to do with a horse? What is it that makes you want to get a horse? I mean, they're an expensive investment. That's probably not the best investment, but the money isn't as important sometimes as what you get out of the horses. I know my joy is probably some of the highest when I see horses perform as they get better, as they mature, as they learn transitions and work better with training and repetition, and they become your family. Family being number one, but horses are right up there. But figure out exactly what you want to do. And sometimes the first horse you buy isn't going to be the horse you're going to keep forever. And it might not be the best horse, but take your time, look at a lot of horses, ride a lot of horses, take a lot of lessons, figure out what you're going to want to do, because sitting in a barn isn't always the best thing for a horse. Sweaty saddle pads are. I mean, get them out and ride them, but then get instruction. Don't get hurt. You get hurt and you're going to have a lot less fun. So I hope this answers some of the questions that I had. We want to thank you for calling in and asking these, but be wise in your decisions. Pick wisely, take your time, get a trusted friend when you're out looking, find the breed that you like, find somebody that you like that you want to buy from. Get a friend that's experienced and have them help, and then probably talk to your local vet to get information, and maybe even your local boarding facility on what to do unless you've got a place for your horse. So until next time, thank you again for calling in, and we'll see you again at the Wickenburg Roundup. Thank you. Oh, be sure and and ask questions. If you want to ask questions, I will answer them online. This is the Wickenburg podcast headquarters at the world famous La Siesta Plaza. I almost forgot. I can't forget the La Siesta, world famous La Siesta Plaza. We're so lucky to be here, and it's in downtown Wickenburg. This is Norco's called Horsetown USA, but I don't know if this isn't Horsetown USA, at least in the winter. So thank you again, and we'll see you soon.